all you need to know. The Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business.
Brought to you by LIC.
Good morning to everyone. This is Bloomberg Quint and I am Hormus Fatakia, here to tell you all that you need to know on the 11th of February. First up, market regulator SEBI has imposed a penalty of 1 crore rupees on the National Stock Exchange and 25 lakh rupees each on Ravi Narayan and Chitra Ramakrishnan in relation to its ongoing investigation in the co-location case. The three parties have been asked to deposit the penalty within 45 days. More details on this are available on BloombergQuint.com. JP Morgan believes that commodities may have just begun a new super cycle of years-long gains. The firm has attributed the latest cycle to several drivers, including a post-pandemic recovery, ultra-loose monetary and fiscal policies, a weak US dollar, and more aggressive environmental policies. A broad gauge of commodity prices hit the highest level in 6 years. Speaking of commodities, oil prices are trading lower this morning. While Brent crude is down close to 1% after 9 days of gains, the WTI variant is trading lower after advancing over 9% in the last 8 trading sessions. On to news related to the pandemic, a World Health Organization panel has recommended the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine for all adults over the age of 18. The recommendation came after some European Union nations had advised against administering the vaccine to the elderly, citing insufficient data. Speaking of the vaccination, close to 70 lakh people have now been administered the first shot of the COVID-19 vaccine in India. Active cases have now fallen to 1.4 lakh throughout the country. On to corporate news, Adar Poonawalla-controlled Rising Sun Holdings Private Limited has agreed to take over majority shareholding in Mumbai-based non-bank lender Magma FinCorp. The transaction will be concluded through a preferential share allotment worth 3,456 crore rupees. The lender will now be renamed to Poonawalla Finance. Post this transaction, Rising Sun will hold 60% stake in the company, while the current promoter will come down to 13%. Royal Enfield CEO Vinod Dasari said that the brand may have to undertake another price hike in April owing to rising input costs. Royal Enfield had already hiked prices by 3 to 5% over the last 6 months. Eicher Motors reported a net profit growth of 7% year-on-year for the October to December period. Titan, in its analyst call, said that it remains very bullish on the wedding jewelry segment and anticipates double-digit growth in demand for the fourth quarter. The management also said that the focus on productivity and cash generation will help margins going forward. Hindalco's net profit rose 76% in the third quarter thanks to its best ever quarterly performance of Novelis and a rebound in its India business. The management will be in conversation with Bloomberg Quint at 9:30 a.m. today. We have Coal India, ITC and Power Grid as the three nifty names reporting earnings today. Non-index names include ACC, Ashok Leyland, Bosch, Graphite India, MRF, Natco Pharma, Petronet LNG, among others. And speaking of MRF, the stock ended over 4% higher on Wednesday and is trading very close to the 1 lakh rupee per share mark. With that, it's now over to Neeraj Shah to talk about the trade setup for the day. Morning, Neeraj. We've had 2 days where the markets have failed to sustain at higher levels. How is it looking like today ahead of the weekly options expiry session?
Thanks, Hormuz. It was a quiet session in the global markets in trade yesterday. I'll start off with that. And there were no real news to drive the action. The same old stimulus stories continue to circulate, encouraging investors to take on more risk. The overarching theme lately seems to be that Democrats will push the massive relief bill through Congress without the Republican approval, allowing for a higher price tag. The positive vaccine developments and cheap money policies are the other variables in this equation. But for today, the upcoming US inflation data is important. If inflation begins to accelerate even before the large relief package is unleashed, it could intensify speculation around how quickly the Fed might begin to reduce the QE dosage, which could argue for a rebound in the dollar, a mild retreat in the stock markets, and would impact emerging markets. But Jerome Powell is due to speak today, and that might be something that everybody will watch out for. The Indian markets yesterday, for the bit, started the day on a flat note, but corrected within the first 1 hour, much like day before, but managed to recover the losses as well and end the roller coaster ride on a flat note. The key, though, is that there are enough days now when the market breadth is weakening and that may be showing profit booking at higher levels at the broader end of the spectrum. The overall chart structure, though, remains positive, and the markets, I think, will gyrate to global market mood today, even as some of the Asian markets are shut. I would expect the last of the result reactions to be digested this week before we move back to global news flow entirely. And something tells me that IT and pharma might start coming back in the reckoning as nervousness around these levels go up. In the trade setup, I've been arguing pharma to make a comeback. Let's see if it happens soon, and let's see how it shapes up today. I wish all a positive day ahead. Stay safe, wear your masks, and happy trading. Thanks for tuning in.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you can listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma. Or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.
Brought to you by LIC.